Hi, my name is Marcelo Baez and I'm a comic book illustrator and teacher from Sydney. Welcome back to the Sketch Your Own Comic Book with my friends at Stockland. Now, before we get started, if you look below this video, you'll see a download workshop material button. You'll need to click on that button to download the workshop material, so you can print it out and follow along with me at home. And if you don't have a printer, you don't need to worry at all. You can still complete these workshops with some pens and paper. Alternatively, you might decide to print out a few of the pages only in black and white. If you did miss the first workshop, then all you need to do is click the left button and you'll be able to play the workshop number 1 comic character video. Okay, let's make sure you're prepped. Every good comic book artist needs a workstation. So if you haven't already, stop this video and grab yourself some paper and coloured pens. It's exactly the equipment I use when illustrating comics for Marvel. Today, in workshop number 2, I'll be exploring creative techniques and how to use photo reference creatively for better designs. Warm-up time for number 2. Alright, so stick figures. We're starting again with a stick figure. You'll see on your screen a very simple picture, an action photo, which I've traced over doing a stick figure. Now, you guys can use that as reference, and I'm going to show you how simple it is. So again, back, shoulder, hips, legs, keeping everything very simple, basic shapes. Again, you can draw yours any which way you like and any pose you like. Remember, this is just a warm-up, nothing too fancy. Nothing fancy at all. And then you can add the bulk for the upper and lower hips. Alright, I want to talk to you about simple skeletons and why they're a great simple creative technique. Simple skeletons is what holds the whole figure together. Not unlike the stick figure, but with just a little bit more detail. And it's basically, if you think of it like a structure of a building, you need to put the frame up first before you start any other details. So I'm going to show you on screen, you're going to see some simple skeletons just to give you some ideas from different angles. And then you will see another illustration where there should be 1, 2, 3 different skeletons. You'll see a very complicated realistic skeleton, and then you'll see a breakdown, a simpler one, and then furthermore on the third one should be a really simplified one. Now I like to start with a super simplified one to build most of my characters, and then if I need more detail I can go back. Simple skeletons start similar to a stick figure, so we'll start with the upper ribs, keeping things very simple, then the backbone, and then keeping the hip shape very, very simple. Now you should see a few of these on screen to help you practice. Now what I want to do is I'm going to draw a few so you can have a look at them. They can be different shapes. They don't need to be exactly round, they can be more oval, they can even be more squarish. So for example, I'll show you another one on the same sheet of paper. So I can have it like this. So that would represent the rib, simple line, and then you can even make the hips if you wish, you can make them squarer like that. And have a practice, because if you want to, you can even draw them for characters that can be pretty like funny characters or unusual characters. You can give them wider ribs and wider hips, and you can square them off as well, however you wish. So now look at the printouts and look at some of the other images on screen, and you'll see a few more examples of what I'm talking about. So now we're going to talk a little bit about character sheets. Okay, so you'll see some character sheets on your screen, and character sheets are basically drawing the same character from a front view, from a side view, and any other view that'll help you draw the character repeatedly. Because when you have to draw comics or any other kind of visual storytelling, you need to know what the character looks like from the front view and the side view. And I find the simplest ways to do this is to practice just drawing straight on front views and straight on side views. Okay, so have a look at some of those examples that I've got there. And now I quickly want to show you a little tip that will help you. So this is, for example, if I'm drawing a character, keep this really simple. So I'll give it a big head, and I'm just worried about the structure here. I'm not going to add any other details. The hips and the legs. Again, remember, don't worry about detail at this point. You just want to get the structure right. Then you can go ahead and add other details. But I want to show you for a side view, what you do is just project sideways That way your proportions for a side view will look really even. So then if that is, for example, our simple front view character, our side view character, even the eyes would project roughly to that point there. And if you look at the neck and the ribs, and there's more of a curve for the back when you see a side view. Then you've got the ribs, and you've got the legs, work out where the knees are, you just kind of draw a light line. Again, you can draw this in pencil for guides if it helps you. Same with the arms. You go down and you line up everything. So what happens then is this part here is your front view, and you project it that way. So even if you decide to give your character any kind of detail, say if you decide to give it like bunny ears, for the sake of this example, then you know that those bunny ears, if you line it up here, only go as far as that point there. If you want to use a ruler, feel free to use a ruler. And then you can add the bunny ears and that one there. So by projecting sideways for each of your drawings, it'll look consistent for your worksheets. I use photos for creative inspiration. I find them really handy to keep things consistent and to also push your creativity a little bit further. Now, if you look at your screen, you'll see a few examples where I've used tiny little toys, little statues. And what I do with those is I look at them at different angles, and they're really good to study. So if you look at some of those on your PDFs right now, you'll see in a few steps, I've broken down just the stick figure. So what you can use then is use the actual toy at a different angle and help you practice drawing better stick figures. And you could also turn those stick figures into totally different characters using whatever toy or action figure you have. As you can see from behind me, I collect a lot of action figures because obviously I'm a big comic book fan as well. So for example, let's use Hulk. So sometimes I'll start with, say, a figure like this, and I'll look at it from different angles. And what I try to do is just look for the simple stick figure. Now, it's a really good way to practice and work out unusual angles that generally can be really difficult, but these things will make it a lot easier. It doesn't matter what sort of toy you have, you can even take a picture of the toy. So don't worry that you don't have the exact toy, it can be any kind of action figure. Let me show you an example of what I mean. Using the same Hulk from before, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at the Hulk from an angle, and I'm only going to look at, for example, his backbone, his shoulder line. I'm keeping it super simple. Again, you can do this in pencil, remember, it doesn't need to be in pen. I'm just following a pose. When it comes to the feet and the hands, simple shapes, triangles, circles, and the head. Okay, so now this is where I'm going to do something different. I've got simple square for the upper and lower body, and I'm going to make the head, instead of the same, I'm going to make it bigger. So I'm using this pose, but I'm creating a different character. So this is what I mean by using reference. So what you can do is then create a simple structure, but create a totally different character. So it's almost like you're creating a, in this case, like a baby version or a sillier version of the character that I've got in front of me. And I can dress it up any which way I want to. So if I want to add, if I want to give this character a sword, you can add a sword. If you want to give the character a jetpack, again, this is just a simple rough sketch, but you can add whatever you like to this, any kind of details. And that was my starting inspiration point. So it's just basically to get you inspired and get you moving. This concludes workshop number 2 of Sketch Your Own Comic Book thanks to my friends at Stockland. As I mentioned in the last workshop, I'd love a chance to see your creations. All you need to do is upload the photo of your creation to the wall. You'll see at the bottom of this page, there's an upload button. You can also explore the wall by clicking on the Wall tab. Your creations will then live on the Stockland wall, where you'll be able to check out some other cool creations. The top 20 most creative creations will be sent a signed book of the Super Australians. This is a comic book which features some of my very own illustrations, and the top 2 winners will be sent a signed limited edition print of mine. The competition closes at 11:59 p.m. on Monday, the 4th of October. I'll be looking for creativity, originality, and interesting storytelling. And by interesting storytelling, it doesn't need to be a great drawing, but it needs to tell a great story. For the character design judging, what I'm looking for different types of characters from different angles. I want interesting, unusual ideas. I don't mind what style it's in. I'm more interested in originality and something that's fun and interesting. My name is Marcelo, and it's been a pleasure to host this second comic book character design workshop for you today. Thank you to Stockland for making this possible, and I look forward to seeing you in workshop number 3, where we'll be focusing on visual storytelling. Stay inspired and stay tuned.